It's a contest of every kid's favorite building project. Let's learn how to play Ultimate Treehouse. Welcome to How to Play. I'm Briggs, and today we're learning Ultimate Treehouse. We'll show you everything you need to know to play this game. Then at the end, we'll even play through the first few turns of a game so you can see it all in action. And now, let's find out how to play. In Ultimate Treehouse, each player has a crew of adorable forest creatures helping them build the treehouse of their dreams. Using action cards to gather construction materials or special bonuses, players compete to end the game with the most spectacular treehouse. But be careful! The weather changes each round of the game and can help or hurt your building efforts. So watch that weather forecast and plan ahead to put yourself in a position to have the ultimate treehouse. To start, place the console board in the middle of the table where all players can reach it. Shuffle the store tiles and place them face down on the board to form a draw pile. Then take the top 4 cards and place them face up in the store. Now each player takes a treehouse mat and a player card. The player card has a summary of the rules on the back in case you forget some of them. Next, place the 5 types of resources in piles around the board to make the supply. Each player then chooses 4 resources, all of different types, as their starting resources for the game. The last thing the players get is action cards. Shuffle the action deck and deal 5 cards to each player. Then, put the rest of the deck face down near the board, leaving room next to it for a discard pile. Finally, set up the weather deck. To do this, find one each of the sunny skies and partly cloudy cards. Place the sunny skies face up on the today's weather space, and partly cloudy face up next to it on the forecast space. Shuffle the rest of the cards and take the top 8 cards to make the weather deck. Place this deck face down in the space next to partly cloudy and return the rest of the weather cards to the box. Note that in a 2-player game, the weather deck should have 9 cards instead of 8. And with that, setup is complete. Players have 10 days to build their treehouse. 1 day for each weather card placed out during setup. A day is 1 round in the game where players take turns adding new features to their trees. Make sure to start each round by looking at the cards showing today's weather and tomorrow's forecast. Today's weather affects all players' turns for the current round, and tomorrow's forecast shows what the weather will be for next round. Knowing the weather for both days will help you plan out your turns more strategically. The player that woke up earliest this morning will go first, so give them the first player token. Turn order will then go clockwise around the table. On a player's turn, they will do a few things. The first is simple: draw 1 new card from the action deck. Second is the main part of the game, the play and build phase. In this phase, you can play 1 action card and build new parts of your treehouse. You can do these in either order you'd like: play then build, or build then play. Or you can even skip one of those steps if you'd like. Usually though, you'll play an action card first because that's how you get the resources needed to build. About half the action cards are used to collect resources from the supply that was placed around the board. To play an action card, follow the text on the card and then place it in the discard pile. Some cards allow you to take specific resources, like this abandoned barn that provides only wood and fasteners. In this case, you get 3 total resources, in whatever combination of wood and fasteners you'd like. The Gnome Depot Run cards are my favorite because they let you take any of the resource types, though some of them do only give 2 total resources instead of 3 or 4. Finally, there's a special class of action cards, the bonus actions. These will say bonus at the top instead of action like the other cards. They're special because playing them doesn't use up your 1 action for your turn. And anytime you play a bonus action, you will immediately draw a new card from the deck as well. One of them, the Acorn Defense, can even be played when it's not your turn at all. Now let's talk about building. First, the items you're building for your treehouse are called elements, and building them is called purchasing. So anytime you see those words on a card, that's what it's talking about. To purchase an element on your turn, look at the 4 items for sale in the store. Then spend the resources shown in the bottom right corner of the element, placing those specific ones back in the supply. If you have enough resources, you can even build more than 1 element on your turn. But the store doesn't get refilled until your turn ends, so you need to pick from the remaining items. Now, if you don't have the correct resources to purchase an element you want, you can substitute by using 2 of the same type of resource in place of another. For example, I might want to build this element but only have 5 wood. I could use 2 wood in place of the 1 rope, another 2 wood to cover the fastener cost, and the last 1 for the wood it did need. Once an element is purchased, it is placed in your treehouse. If you look at your mat, you'll see there are 14 outlined squares on it. You can tell which element is meant to go in each square by comparing the background of the element with the spaces on the mat. For example, you can see that this element has the same tree and leaf features as this square of the mat, so that's where it's placed once it's built. There are 2 important rules to remember when building your elements. First, most of the elements can only be built once per player. You'll know these because they show a single leaf in the corner. But for elements with multiple leaves, try and build more than one of them. The numbers on the leaves show the number of points earned for building that element. So a single leaf like this gives you a flat 4 points. But with multiple leaves like these, building more of them will gain you more points. If I only built one of them, I would get 3 points. However, if I could build a second, those 2 are now worth 7 points. Note, this is 7 points total, not 7 points each. And when placing these multi-build elements, they should be stacked on top of each other on their designated spot on the mat. The second building rule has to do with the colors of the squares on the mat. You'll see that 11 have white borders and 3 have yellow borders. The yellow bordered squares are for the core elements, and the white squares are for all other items, which are called accessory elements. The 3 core elements are only single build items, but any player able to build all 3 of them by the end of the game receives 3 bonus points. Once the play and build phase is done, players must discard down to the hand limit of 5 cards. Most of the time, players will already have 5 cards in their hand at this point and they won't need to worry about discarding. But some action cards can give you extra cards. In this case, just choose 5 to keep and place the rest in the discard pile. And to end your turn, flip over cards from the store deck to fill any openings in the store. And then the next player goes. After every player has had a turn in the round, a new day starts. Take the weather card in the forecast spot and place it on top of today's weather card. Then draw the next weather card from the deck, place it face up on the forecast spot, and start a new round. So that's how new weather cards come out. But what exactly does the weather do? Well, just like in real life, the weather cards affect how difficult it is for you to work outside. For example, if today's weather card is a heat advisory, it's too hot to handle metal and no elements that use it can be built this round. Or you might have a snowstorm and each element you build this round will cost 1 extra resource. On the other hand, when it's sunny skies outside, each element costs 1 less resource this round. So the weather can make it harder or easier to build. And note that whenever you see the any symbol, you get to choose the extra resource you spend or save. And don't just look at today's weather. Check the forecast card as well. This can help strategically plan out your rounds. If you see that there will be a discount next round, you could save your resources this turn, and instead buy more elements next round when they'll be cheaper. Remember, the discount applies to each element you build in a round, so planning ahead can save you 2 or 3 resources in a single round. This could be enough to build another element all by itself. After playing the round with the last card in today's weather space, the game ends. Everyone should add up all the points on the elements they've built. Don't forget to count your multi-build elements, as well as the 3 bonus points if you're able to get all 3 core elements. The player with the most total victory points is the winner and has built the ultimate treehouse. Now that you've seen how to play, let's show you what this looks like in action. We'll walk through the first few turns of a game and explain each step. In this example game, Naomi is the welder and selected these starting resources. She's playing against Liam, the scout character. Naomi starts the game drawing an action card and giving her this hand. She checks the weather and sees that she will get a 1 resource discount on all elements this turn, but no discount next turn. With that sunny skies discount, she'd like to get at least 2 elements. Looking at the store, she sees that if she can get even 1 wood, she can actually get 3 elements. Luckily, she has a downed tree action card and plays it, placing the card in the discard pile and collecting 3 wood. Now, using that weather discount, she purchases the stove element with 1 metal, the window element with 1 wood, and the hammock element for 1 rope and 1 cloth. And while she does have the resources needed to build the last window in the store, the single leaf means she can't have more than 1 in her treehouse. So she places the purchased elements in her treehouse, and with no more elements she can buy in the store, she ends her turn. She does this by first checking that she doesn't have more than 5 cards in her hand, and then refilling the store with new elements. Liam goes next, and also wants to build multiple elements before the Sunny Skies discount ends. He would really like to get the door that just came out, so he can work towards the core element 3-point bonus. He also likes multi-leaf elements, so we'll try and get one of those too. Looking at his cards, he can use the blind bag card to get a free element, but decides to wait to use it for a round that doesn't have a building discount. Instead, he uses his Gnome Depot run to get the resources needed for those 2 cards he really wants. He can use the rope and wood he already has to get the rope ladder. So he uses the Gnome Depot to get another rope, plus the cloth and wood needed for the door. He places the 2 purchased elements in his treehouse, checks that he doesn't have more than 5 cards in his hand, and refills the store to end his turn. That also ends the first round of the game. They start the next round by moving the forecast weather card to today's weather space, then flip over a new weather card for the forecast space. Naomi and Liam will continue taking turns like this the rest of the game, but this is where we'll end our playthrough example. Hopefully it gave you a good feel for what it's like. And that's how you play Ultimate Treehouse. If you're looking for more fun family games like this one, then check out this video right here.